Bolinda and HarperAudio Australia present this unabridged recording of The Holy and the Broken, a cry for Israeli-Palestinian peace from a land that must be shared. Written by Ittay Flescher and read by Ittay Flescher and Zev Levi. Recorded at Nomi Studios in Jerusalem.
This book is dedicated to Mark Raphael Baker. He lived from 1959 to 2023. A brilliant scholar, author, academic, grandfather, father, and husband. Mark's writings, ideas, and actions inspired multitudes of Melbourne Jews to practice our faith, tradition, and culture in a manner that honours both our ancient heritage and the ideal that all humans are created equally. His life inspired me to be who I am. His death inspired me to write this book. May his memory be a blessing. Preface. Walk past any busker with guitar on any day of the week in Jerusalem, and I guarantee you that if you wait long enough, you will eventually hear them play Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. If Jerusalem were a soundtrack instead of a city, I'm almost sure this would be her anthem. With an opening verse that sets a scene on King David's ancient balcony in Jerusalem, it's well known across the city to Jews and Arabs in its English, Hebrew, and Arabic versions. Perhaps this is because the song expresses the very human emotions we all have around love, loss, betrayal, anger, and reconciliation in ways that few other lyrics about this city have managed to do. For that reason, when choosing a title for this book about the humans of Palestine and Israel and my relationship with them as a Jewish Australian journalist and peace educator, I knew it had to reference this song. This book is ultimately about both the holy and the broken. The holy hallelujahs are requests from the heart that somehow find answers to the questions their petitioners seek. The broken hallelujahs are the multitudes of prayers, hopes, and dreams that go unanswered, yet live on more powerfully than one could ever imagine through our words, deeds, and actions. The Holy and the Broken was primarily written in 2024 during the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. I hope it achieves the goal I set for all the classes I have taught from Melbourne to Jerusalem and beyond, which is to comfort the troubled and trouble the comfortable. How to read this book. The Holy and the Broken is organised into 3 parts. The first section, chapters 1 to 5, covers my experience of October 7th and the development of my Jewish identity, as well as the history of Israel and Palestine. It delves into how we remember the past and considers the possible outcomes had different choices been made over the past 120 years. The second section, chapters 6 to 9, focuses on the importance of moral reckoning and the challenges of peacebuilding during the Israel-Gaza war, with an emphasis on the interfaith youth organisation Kids for Peace Jerusalem. The final section, chapters 10 to 17, explores the role of journalists, female peacebuilders, people of faith, schools, and grassroots movements in envisioning and creating a movement for social change, one that can potentially disrupt the cycle of violence. This book concludes with a coda about my parents and Mark Baker, reflecting on what I learned from them in order to make me who I am today. Finally, there are 3 timelines that may be a useful resource for those new to this subject matter. They provide overviews of the history of Israel and Palestine, Israel-Gaza wars and agreements, negotiations, and peace proposals. Feel free to read this book in order or start wherever your interest is strongest. It's your own adventure to choose. Ittay Flescher, Jerusalem, October 2024. Chapter 1. 50 Years and One Day. How October 7th Changed Everything. On the afternoon of October 6, Yom Kippur, 1973, my father broke his fast at 2 p.m. A siren sounded above the Ramat Gan synagogue north of Tel Aviv, where he had come to pray on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. Within hours, he had replaced his white shirt and talit for army greens and was off to war, the third in his life at only 23 years of age. By the time of the festival of Sukkot, a week later, he was in a tank fighting the Egyptians in the Sinai Peninsula. 50 years and one day later, on October 7th, 2023, I began the morning by checking my phone as always at around 6 a.m. Nothing special was happening. It was exceptionally quiet, with few cars on the road and no sound of early morning rubbish trucks to disturb the peace, because it was both a Saturday
Sample complete. Ready to continue?